Now I'm going to show you how to make the patch called Bobbin Around, and this patch is based on a bobbin of thread. Out of the sacking you need to have cut a piece of fabric 18 centimetres by 23 centimetres, so it's like a rectangular patch. That's the same size for all of our patches. But you can see once you've cut it out, it's a little bit floppy for our blankets, so we need to strengthen it, and we're going to do that by ironing a piece of stiffener on the back. Now you'll see it can be a big bit of fabric, so whenever you're cutting out of a big piece of fabric, always make sure you go into the corner, and this way it saves waste. So you can just lay your piece of sacking and just cut around it as accurately as you can. So at the moment these are two separate pieces of fabric, but if you have a little look closely, you'll see one side of this is shiny, and that's actually like a fabric glue, and when you iron it on, it melts the shiny side and it sticks on to your sacking. So what we just need to do is get an iron, put your sacking cloth first down, and then the shiny side has to be the shiny side that goes onto your fabric patch, and then we're just going to hold that down and slowly, with a little gentle bit of pressure, just press down, moving it around slowly for about 10 seconds. It's on the highest temperature, and you just do it until it becomes as one, and that's it. So we're now going to make our little bobbin shape, and what we need for that is some brown felt and some Bobbin web. You also need the bobbin cardboard template. So just place the cardboard template first of all onto the Bobbin web, and you just cut round roughly. Then we're going to iron again, and we're going to iron the Bobbin web to the felt. Now Bobbin web is different to the stiffener. You can see if I gently pull that apart, it's a bit of paper and a bit of what looks like, well, like a spider's web, hence why it's called Bobbin web. And that spider's web stuff is actually, again, fabric glue. So you want to really make sure that the fabric glue side goes directly onto the felt. Apart from anything, it'll mess up your iron if it doesn't. Just lightly press that on. You really don't need it on for long at all, just a few seconds, just so it holds. And then you can cut out your rectangle of felt ready. We've got our piece of prepared Bobbin web felt, and we've got our stencil here. So all you need to do is draw around the stencil. You can use a little tailor's pencil or anything else you can see. I wouldn't use felt tip pens like a Sharpie or something, because it rubs all over the felt and just makes it really messy, and you get really filthy as well. So as long as there's enough that you can like roughly see, you can see that a little bit on the camera there. And then we're just going to cut out the shape as carefully as you can. I often use the V of the scissors. Just cut it all out until you get your cutout shape ready to be ironed on to your sack patch. So you should have ready your stiffened sack patch and your little bobbin. So we're going to stick these onto one another. Now how we do that is again by using the iron. Now this time the paper backing actually comes off the bobbin, so just carefully peel the paper backing away. If the glue also comes away with it, you just need to iron it a little bit more. So it should, if you can see, just come away and you'll see it's got like a kind of mesh on the back. We're then just going to pop that right in the centre of our sack patch. And just press it down. And what I do, I kind of hold it in place that side, and then I turn it around and I really press down again, moving your iron slowly and firmly for about 10 seconds. And you'll see when it's done, if it's firmly stuck down, that's not going to go anywhere. And that's your patch ready for the next stage. We're now going to make the holes on either side of the bobbin. There's 8 in total, 4 on each side. You can just get a pen and just mark at the top and at the bottom, and then 2 in the middle until you have 4 marks down the side. Do them about 1 centimetre away from the bobbin, no nearer than this, to be honest. And then if you've got access to the hole puncher, you can use that, or if not, actually you can just use a pencil, a sharpened pencil, but just be careful. So you just take the edge of the pencil and just literally just poke it through like that, all the way through. So you've got that big hole. And you're just going to do that down all of them. So then you end up with 8 holes. And what you can actually do to make sure that there's a real hole there, just put your pencil through again and just twist it around a few times before we sew it. Okay. Now we're going to sew around the holes around the edges so the fabric doesn't fray. What you're going to need is some embroidery thread, and this is basically like normal thread, but it's got about 6 strands in it, so it's like a lot thicker than ordinary thread that you'd get off a bobbin, and that's quite important. But because it's so thick, when you're choosing a needle, make sure that you've got a needle that's got a bigger eye in it. You then just need to thread your needle, the most difficult part. And always just make sure, by the way, that when you're doing any kind of hand sewing, that the thread is no longer than the length of your arm. I'm just going to cut that little bit off there. And this is to help it not get all like raveled if you just cut it the length of your arm. Right, what you can then do, we're just going to do it the simple way by just tying a little knot at the end of your thread to stop it from coming through. I'm going to do a double knot just to make sure. There you go. Right, and then I'm just going to hold this up close. Poke it through just on the outside of the hole. Okay, and then you're going to go inside the hole and then come back up right next to where you've just been and just pull. And then you're going to do that again. So it's just kind of lining up your stitches next to one another, but making sure that that hole is getting bigger. Okay, so if you can see that, like that. Keep on going all the way around and go around all 8 of them until it looks like this. So now we just need to get our cord threaded through our little bobbin. So what we just do, you'll notice that the cord should be knotted on one end so it doesn't unravel. And you can just put it into the top, doesn't matter which side, but just one of the top holes. You think, oh, how am I going to get that through? Just gently push it through with a pencil, and you can kind of feed it through that side there. And then you're just going to go right the way across to the opposite hole. push that through. So it's there like that. And then thread it through the hole that's underneath there. And then we're going to come across to the other side, and you just work your way along, down, all the way to the very bottom. You threaded it all through, it should look something like this. So you can see it's got a little bit of extra thread on, and that's so you can kind of satisfyingly pull it around and fiddle with it like that. But at the moment, if I was to pull too much on this, it would yank it out. So what I need to do is make sure that it's sewn sturdily on the back. So just making sure you've got the knot on this, the back side of the patch. Just take a normal piece of thread it through a needle. I like to do it kind of double. So it just, if you can just see, it just goes through like that. And then what you need to be careful of here is that you're only sewing through the back. You don't want your stitch to come through to the front. So you're just going to, whoops. So I would sew about, let's say 20 times, because we don't want this to come out. So just basically go around and around the bit of cord to make sure it's nice and strong. And then once you've finished doing that, that is you and your gorgeous bobbin around patch finished. Well done.